everyone, thank you so much for joining me back here on my channel. You're with the Gypsy Caravan. I'm Shan. Hello. My skin is not happy with me right now. I have broken out purely just in this area. Why? Face masks. Today I'm going to be showing you how my makeup was done for my wedding day. The reason why I'm doing this video is because my anniversary is on Saturday. Trav and I have been together for 12 years, but we've been married for 3 of them. So it's our 3rd year anniversary on Saturday. And normally every year, for the last 2 years, on our anniversary we'll like do something small, like go out for dinner or just like spend the night in. But I always make it a thing to do my makeup how I did my makeup on my wedding day. At least just try and make this look reminiscent of our wedding day. So I'm going to show you how my makeup was done. Okay, so for my wedding day I had someone come in and do makeup for everyone. I had my best friend, she was the matron of honor at my wedding. She goes by Makeup by Uds on Instagram, so if you want to follow her, I'll leave her Instagram down below for you so that you can follow her. She's an amazing makeup artist. We met at MAC because we both worked at MAC at the same time. So we were on the same counter, we became very good friends, and I gave her makeup to do for the day. So yeah, so for my makeup, I didn't want anything typical. I did not. My words to everyone who were in my bridal party, my family, my friends who were involved, the venue, the woman who made my dress, just everyone, I said to them, I do not want to look like a typical bride. Because I'm into like the whole bohemian gypsy 70s thing, obviously Gypsy Caravan, hello, specifically wanted my wedding to be very reminiscent of a 70s bohemian hippie era. So of course my makeup had to be the same thing. So my dress was completely lace. It was of course a winter wedding because it was the end of August. It was long sleeve. The only thing that was open was the back of my dress. I had tassels. Like, I'll throw up a picture here so you can see my dress. I am in love with my dress. For my makeup, I wanted it to be very bohemian, very lived in, very edgy, very grungy, but still very soft. So I didn't really have a color scheme per se for my wedding, but because the flowers I wanted were proteas, I wanted everything to kind of tie in with the proteas. So I went with a blush pink to a dark red burgundy kind of color scheme when it came to like my bridesmaids and stuff wearing dresses and the tone of my makeup and stuff like that. So purely just because I honestly just wanted proteas at my wedding. I didn't have a particular color scheme, you know, like I didn't have tablecloths on my tables. I didn't have flowers per se. I just had proteas everywhere and stuff like that. So first thing I did on my wedding day was wash my face. Yes, you are supposed to wash your face before you put any makeup on, especially if you want it to lay down really nicely. So I just got out of the shower. I have just washed my face, but I haven't put any skincare on whatsoever because I wanted to talk you through the products that we used that day. So at the time, back in 2017, my favorite cleanser of all time was the Lightful Sea cleanser from MAC. By the way, all the products here today will probably come from MAC because Ads and I were both working at MAC at the time, and in with their softening lotion as well that day. And that was literally my skincare, like how I cleaned my face and did my skincare that day. That was it. So because my face is being a little biatch today, I've cleaned my skin, but I'm not going to be too heavy with the serums. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of my Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair. Item I went in with was eye cream, purely just because it's good to hydrate underneath your eyes, because again it just ensures that concealer sits nicely on the face. This also just depuffs and diminishes like any black circles under the eyes. It's got caffeine powder in, so it helps just to plump up the skin, which I didn't need on the day because unlike most brides, I slept like a baby the night before. I was so at peace with my wedding, and I was just so trustworthy and trusting in the fact that nothing was going to go wrong, which nothing did. I had the most perfect wedding day in the history of wedding days. Just saying, nothing went wrong. Absolutely zilch went wrong. So like I was saying, I mean, I slept like a baby, so I didn't have dark marks or lines or anything like that underneath my eyes, but it's always just good just to prep this area as well. Okay, so my moisturizer that day was sunscreen. The reason why I specifically applied not a lot, because sunscreen gives flashback, that white cast in photos. I went in with a little bit because Trav and I kind of got married outside, so we got married in a greenhouse, which is technically outside. So I went in with a little bit of an SPF 50 from MAC. I have just the sample of it, but I did apply a little bit of sunscreen to my face that day. On to like the actual makeup portion. Prepped skin with Fix Plus. Didn't particularly wear a primer per se, but I was so in love with my Strobecream at the time that I actually used this as a primer. So this is the shade Peachlite. So we used this as kind of like a moisturizer and a sort of primer at the time. So then the second-ish kind of primer that we went in with, I was so obsessed and in love with this blurring product that MAC came out with. It's called Mineralized Time Check Lotion. They don't make it anymore, of course. So I was so obsessed with that product, purely because it was just a really thin, light, gel-ish consistency cream or lotion that you apply to the skin, and it helps to instantly plump up the skin. It diminishes pores, it diminishes any fine lines and wrinkles, and it literally just puts like this really thin blurring filter on the face. So that's what we used. So I'm going to go in with something similar. So I'm going to use Tatcha the Silk Canvas. It's pretty much the same, just this one is like a balm that you like put your finger in and scoop out, where that one was like a pump of lotion and then you zhush in your hands and apply it. The reason why we applied it that day is purely just because I have super enlarged pores on my nose. Like I've always just had a problem with pores on my nose or around my nose area, so I didn't want that coming up in my photos. And it's like the easiest way to cheat good skin without applying a lot of makeup, because I said from the get-go I do not want to wear a lot of makeup. That is not who I am. I am not a full coverage person. If a blemish or a pimple or two show, that's fine, leave it. Don't edit it out, don't do anything like that, don't touch my skin up, nothing. I want my skin to look the most in its most natural form. I do not want to look too done up. That's not who I am. Refrain from using too much. That's pretty much the prep work done. Let's head into the eyes. As the primer that was used that day was Paintpot. It was my favorite primer at the time. It still is, obviously, because I'm still using it. So this is just going to go over the lid. I'm applying with a 224. And the reason why I love this primer specifically, or eye base, is because it just covers up any veins or redness in the eyes, which I have super veiny lids, and it just prevents eyeshadow from creasing for like a good 15 hours, which is perfect because that's how long I wore makeup for at my wedding. So this just kind of went all over the lid, from inner corner to outer corner, lash line, up into my brows even. This is the best part. I only used one eyeshadow to do my eyes on my wedding day. We didn't use any other eyeshadows. There were no other colors. It was literally just one eyeshadow manipulated. So the eyeshadow that we used that day is this one here, Swiss Chocolate by MAC. That's the only eyeshadow we used that day. Actually used this as a transition shade as well. So we went in with a little bit of this first. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just using a JH32 to apply. And this just literally went into the crease. There was no shape. It went all the way up. It went all the way across the crease. We just stuck this color in so that when we applied Swiss chocolate over it, it would just blend out more smoothly. Okay, so taking a smaller blending brush and then picking up some of that Swiss chocolate, the first thing we did was apply this into the crease and just blend it out in the crease. It is a matte eyeshadow, so you do need to be patient when blending it. You can't just start blending it. You have to apply it down first and then blend. Okay, so we applied it in, so you just tap, 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 tap. And then just keep that quite low and blend it out into the crease. Because I wanted the most pigment to be like in my crease first. And then just going back in with that big fluffy blending brush and picking up a little bit, like the tiniest bit of Swiss chocolate. We went over the crease and just slowly started to diffuse that out. Because I wanted this to be quite high up, but not in my brow. So we applied all the pigment in the crease, and now the mirror is in the shot. Just slowly taking that color up so that it's nice and soft and quite high up in the eye area here. Cool, so as you can see, like, it's a very soft, very, very rounded sort of smoky eye, which is what I wanted, because I wanted it to wrap around my entire eye. And it's always important to get the crease down first because it's so easy to do the lid. But yeah, the diffusing part is probably the hardest part, but this is exactly what I wanted. Crease. And already there you can see it looks like I've used two different eyeshadows, purely just because we really applied the Swiss chocolate in the crease and then diffused it with a much fluffier, softer brush. So tips 101 on how to manipulate one eyeshadow. Cool, I'm gonna do the other crease quickly off camera, and we'll come back to finishing the eye. Okay, so the crease should kind of look like that. So I'm going to go in with a 239 packing brush and we're just going to fill in the lid. And this was the most pigmented and the most intense part of the eye because obviously it's the lid. So all that happened, or all that was done on the lid, we just packed on that color. No blending took place as yet because I wanted my lids to be like the darkest of my eye. So I swapped out my 217 for a more natural bristle because I can't stand that brush. So go in with a medium blending brush and just sit tight in your crease and just soften where that lid joins your crease. That's all that we did. And to diffuse everything once again, went back in with the big fluffy blending brush. Cool, so that was pretty much the eye look on the top. Like, we'll get to the rest in a minute, but that is exactly how I wore my eyes on the day of my wedding. It's soft, it's smoky, it's bohemian. It went with like the color scheme of the Proteas and stuff, so that is what happened. So the foundation that was used that day was Face and Body because it was my favorite foundation at the time. It still is my favorite foundation, but like at that time I was in it. That's what I wanted to use on my wedding day. Because again, like I said, I couldn't care less if I had blemishes showing, which I didn't have. I was actually quite fortunate. I only had one blemish that day and it was like right in the middle of my chin here. So annoying. But I didn't want full coverage. I wanted my skin to look like my skin. I wanted all the focus to be on my eyes and my lip. So I couldn't care if the foundation covered or not. So that's what was used. I'm just going to use this little like blending brush that I have here. I didn't do any sort of fake tanning or anything for my wedding day because number one, it was a winter wedding. It would have looked stupid to tan. Number two, I was in a blush pink, almost white dress, as one normally is for their wedding day, you know, a white dress. And I just didn't want like the tan seeping out onto my dress because again, those photos are forever. And number two, like I said, it was a winter wedding, so I wanted to be my natural skin color, which is fair, which is what I am now. So C1 was the color we used. Cool. So there you have it. You can still see my blemishes, you can still see a little bit of the pinkiness popping out of my skin, and that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so like I said, I obviously still went in with my concealer. The concealer that I was heavily into at the time was the Pro Longwear concealer from MAC. I remember I used NC20 because that was the only shade that matched me correctly at the time. But I don't carry that concealer with me anymore because it's now actually not my favorite anymore. So I'm just going to go in with my 24-hour Studio Fix Smooth Wear Concealer. This is in the shade NW24. And we just boosted the inner corner of my eye. Took down some of the redness in my nose. Took down my scar, a little bit of redness I get around my nose. And then a couple dabs on my cheeks. And that was it. That is all I asked for. Because again, I liked the way my skin looked and I wanted to emphasize my skin and I didn't want to cover everything, but I did. You obviously do need to highlight certain things, obviously. So yeah, I'm just using, what is this, like my JH Big 30 blending brush just to push this in. So yep, there we go. Then to set it, like I said, I was using the mineralized loose powder at the time because MAC doesn't make it anymore and I don't have the other one. I'm just going to go back in with that translucent powder and we just set the areas where we place that concealer because I get super oily around my nose, so we had to set that down. And then we just set underneath the eyes because we were going to put eyeshadow there as well, so we didn't want that creasing. Finish up the underneath the eye area. So again, just going to go back in with that Swiss chocolate shade, and we used a pencil brush. This is the JH39, just to kind of put the most intense color right into that lash line, and then we use the other brushes just to like blend out the color. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I had her take the color right into the inner corner and join up with the end here. I'm just going to take a JH40 just to soften that line and bring down the color just into the bags of my eyes, I guess. Just to like soften it and create that round shape at the end here. Cool, so I'm just taking one of the bigger blending brushes and I'm just smoothing over everything because like I said, I wanted it to be very diffused eye. So that's just what I'm doing right now. I'm just going over everything just to really keep it smooth looking. So obviously, of course, on the day I didn't cry, not once. Actually, I cried a little bit when Trav and I went to go pray with each other just before I walked down the aisle, and I think that's about the only time I cried. But I mean, I didn't like ugly cry, I didn't bawl, I just had like tears in my eyes and I kind of like just blinked it away. But obviously I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know I was going to cry or not cry. It depended. So the mascara that I loved at the time and still do, obviously, like these are all my favorite products, okay, is the Haute mascara, but I obviously got the one with the blue lid because that one's waterproof. I don't have the waterproof one anymore because I don't need it. Like, hello. So I just have the normal one, but we definitely went with Haute on the day because my exact words were, I want thick, chunky lashes without wearing lashes. I did not want to wear false lashes. It's not my thing. So I said just only use the glitter opening, which is the opening that picks up like the most amount of product, and just whack it on. Just get in there, put it on. So we did. I didn't curl my lashes or anything like that prior. I just said whack that shit on. Of course, naturally I do have long lashes. I'm quite blessed to have long lashes. Okay, and then for the bottom lashes I still used the same mascara, but I didn't want them to be as thick as the top, so we just swapped over to the smaller opening and just did the bottom lashes with that. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for all those little mistakes to dry off, and then I'm going to clean them off. So while that happens, let's move on to brows. So I'm just going to take a spoolie and just brush them. So at the time, the brow products that I was really into and wanted to use that day were products that MAC discontinued. They don't do them anymore. Of course, what's new? So at the time, what I was using to do my brows was the Big Brow Pencil from MAC in the shade Cork. And then I used the thin eyebrow pencil in Fling, which they don't make anymore because they've changed the formula, but I still have the old pencil, so I'm going to use that. And then we set everything in a brow set. I'm almost certain it was Beguile. It should have been Beguile because that again is the only brow gel that actually matches my natural brow shade. But essentially I wanted the thickest, the fullest, the fluffiest eyebrows ever for my wedding. And that's what I had been using prior to my wedding to achieve like that really fluffy look. So we're going to do that today with kind of similar products. It's not all going to be the same, but it's how I've been doing my brows always. I have always done my brows like this. I'm never going to change how I do my brows, so that is that. I'm just going to go in with my Shape and Shade pen. I'm going to use the spongier side. This one is in Fling, because this one matches my hair color now, which is grey. So I'm just going to use this to brush my brows back. Just like that. I had a spoolie on the day as well, which is why I brushed my brows with this. Perfect. Then I went back in with my spoolie and brushed the hairs up, but like kind of in a diagonal way to like kind of brush them that way, but keep them up because like I said, I wanted fluffy ass brows. Pretty much like that. So I'm just going to use the pen side in place of the pencil because like I said, I don't have the stylized pencil anymore because I don't use pencils to do my brows. I do mainly just gel sets and the pens. So I'm just going to do that real quick. And literally the whole point of the pencil that day was just to fill in any gaps that my brows had and to just kind of reshape them. I didn't really fill in the top of my brow. My main concern for my brows at the time was to just fill in the bottom to keep the top looking fluffy. We went in with a brow set. This is Beguile, and all we did was just fluff up the brow further, and the gel, once dried, keeps your brows in that shape. So I told her just to brush up my brows. Keep them full and spiky. So that's pretty much how I wore my brow. Is it too big? Maybe. Did I care? Nope, because this is how my brows looked and this is how I wanted my brows to look on my wedding day. So, you know, I'm going to quickly do the other side off camera because that took forever. Okay, brows done. Today all we used was the Mineralized Give Me Sun bronzer to bronze my face. Too dark for my skin at the moment because I am quite fair, but I just really liked the color of it, and I kind of wanted to use it as a blush that day as well. So I just said to her, use a light hand but put it everywhere. So So that's what we're going to do. So we literally, this is what I used to do on counter. I would swirl the whole brush in and then try and hit off as much as I could. Is that wasteful? Maybe. But I mean, I've had this for 4 years and there's hardly even a dent in it, just so you know. Okay, perfect. So, like I said, I just wanted a sort of bronzish effect. So we kept the darkest or the most pigmented amount of it at the back here. And then as the product began to leave the brush, we would take that down on my cheek. Contour, I want it to look more like bronzy. So that's what we did. We applied with one brush. And then as the product began to leave that brush, we would use that to diffuse it. Just a little bit in the forehead because I had a curled fringe coming down and I had like flowers in my hair, so you weren't really going to see my forehead. But you don't dare not bronze my forehead. Gotta get rid of that double chin. And then I'm just going to do a little bit across my nose just for luck. I didn't do this on the day, but it's a thing these days, so let's bring it up to 2020 peeps. Perfect. Then for blush, like I said, I went in with my blush choice, which was, what is this? Warm Soul color shade as the Give Me Sun, but I still wanted that glow, so that's what we did. I'm flushing really bad right here because this room is really hot, unfortunately, so it's probably like distorting the bronzer and things, but yeah. Wanted like a beaming intense highlighter, so we applied a little bit of the cream color base in the shade Hush first to my skin, and then we went over top with highlighter. So I'm just going to do that quick. It's basically just a cream product that has a nice luminosity and glow to it, and you can use this under a powder highlight to intensify it, just to like bring up that really nice beam of highlight. Cool. And then Cupid's bow, tip of the nose, just a little, and then just a touch on the bridge. The highlighter that we used on the day was a highlighter that was fairly new to MAC. It had just been launched, I think. It's these extra dimension highlighters. These were launched in the year that I got married, and the minute I saw this, that was it. It was game over. I'm like, this is the highlighter that I'm wearing on my wedding day. You can't tell me 6 ways from Sunday that I'm not wearing this. So this is the extra dimension Skinfinish in the shade Beaming Blush. As you can see, it's kind of like a rose goldy pink. And also specifically why I wanted to use this highlighter is because the jewelry that I wore on that day, and all the jewelry that like my bridesmaids and stuff were wearing, was like of a coppery rose gold. So it wasn't copper, but it was more rose gold. And like all the little small detailed things that were part of the wedding, like so like for example, our Holy Communion goblets that we used were rose gold, so it was like very rose goldy. So I wanted to somehow tie in that rose gold effect into my makeup as well, and this did it for me. So I'm just gonna wet the skin and apply the highlighter to the wet Fix Plus so that it's just even more intense. And also that just sets your face in place. So I'm just going to go in with my Real Techniques 402 setting brush just to apply. I'm just going to tap this into that cream highlighter first to get it all nice and intense. Getting like all the intense color down first. Cool, and then going in and just blending that out. I did take this down onto the apples of my cheeks because it does look more youthful, and like I said, I wanted an overall glow. So we went in with a highlighter, I think. We also used the same highlighter to highlight just a little bit underneath my brow bone and to do my inner corners. So I'm just going to swap over to a slightly smaller brush to do that. This highlighter literally looks a mess, purely just because of my wedding day. I bought it new and I hadn't used it up until my wedding day, and because we kept applying it with like a wet brush, my wedding day literally ruined my highlighter. So I'm just doing a little highlight there, applying in the inner corner too, so that everything looks super cohesive. So on my wedding day, like I said, I didn't want to be like everyone else. I wanted to be different. So I went in with the Retro Matte Carnivorous color. Why? It matched the Protea flowers that I had for the wedding. 2, it's a lipstick that does not transfer when kissed or hugged or anything like that, so of course Trav approved. And 3, because that's what I wanted. So I'm just going to prep my lip with some Prep and Prime lip base. I did my lipstick on the day because we needed it for like camera shots and pictures, so I applied my lipstick that day. You can't tell me that's not a beautiful color. Oh. Okay, I'm not gonna line my lips because I actually did a pretty good job today. I think on the day I was just really nervous and picked up my lips. But there you have it. That is the makeup that was done for me for my wedding. See? So beautiful. I mean, come now, it's what I would have done if I were to get married this year, kind of thing. So I think for you to really see like the full effect, I am gonna put my jewelry back in and put my flowers in, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and there there you have it. Here's the Gypsy Caravan on her wedding day. Yep, I had these really cool gem earrings in for no other reason other than I really liked it. I got it from Navisa. It didn't match anything, but I wanted to wear them. And then I got these flowers from Navisa as well. So I guess the earrings kind of match because there's some purple and blue and things in here. But yep, this is what it looked like on my wedding day. Obviously had a wedding dress on. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, even though it really wasn't like a makeup tutorial or anything. It was kind of like a get ready with me situation. But since my anniversary is coming up, I just wanted to share a little bit of my wedding with y'all. So thank you and bye.